Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Tony Ndoro, live from Johannesburg. And in your top stories this evening...
Why she give this boy the bail? Because she put 2 people killed, then is 3. This one died.
Outrage after a 19-year-old murder suspect is released from prison. The scary reality of South Africa being a gangster's paradise. We take a look at the deadly underworld.
Lebogang Maile. He's a thug and he's a liar.
After this scathing remark by the EFF, the Gauteng Human Settlements MEC is out to clear his name. All right, thank you guys. We'll catch up with you later. We start here though. Tears of anger flowed outside the Johannesburg Magistrates Court today. The community of Turffontein is up in arms after the accused in the Forest High School murder was granted bail. 19-year-old grade 11 pupil Mohammed Muela is accused of killing another pupil and wounding 2 others. Ekurhuleni has that story.
The order is as follows. The court finds that the interest of justice permits that the accused or applicant be released on bail.
In the dock, teenager Mohammed Muela hears he's been granted bail. But outside, chaos breaks out. The community is demanding justice.
Why you give her the bail? Maybe the kid is not bearing. You give her bail for what?
Muela is claiming he was defending himself against a gang on the day 16-year-old Daniel Bakwela was stabbed to death. The accused says the murder weapon belonged to Bakwela and was dropped during their scuffle. He alleges he picked it up only to defend himself. The community believes the incident is gang-related.
There was allegation that the deceased belonged to the Stouterkenners gang, and that allegation was never challenged before court. So it stands, and then it gives the accused the opportunity to be protected.
The NPA says the deceased was involved in another criminal matter which influenced the decision by the state not to oppose bail.
The deceased in this matter was also facing a criminal charge of armed robbery in this same court and was supposed to appear in August.
The matter returned to court in a month's time. In the meantime, strict bail conditions have been set. Muela must stay away from Forest High School and report to the local police station every week. Ekurhuleni, Johannesburg.
Cape Town is no stranger to gang violence. It's an issue that spans decades and one that continues to claim lives. Leanne Jansen takes a look. Please note that this report contains graphic footage that may be disturbing to some viewers.
Oh my, I can't handle it anymore. I've become someone that I don't want to be. It's so much pain.
The plight of many mothers across Cape Town. Melanie van Nelson's 16-year-old son, Courtney Jackson, died in a hail of bullets last March.
This is where Courtney Jackson was gunned down in March last year, and there are still remnants of that. There were 7 hollow point bullets found in his body, the rest in this wall. One over there, another over here. This wall is riddled with holes from that day when Courtney lost his life. Now, 16-year-old Courtney Jackson is one of many children and young people across Cape Town who have lost their lives.
This is a near everyday occurrence. A reality for countless Cape Town communities. For grieving parents, it's a stark reminder of their loss.
Wherever you go, it's shooting. It's wherever you go, it's the gangsters. You live in fear. How can you get healed?
While authorities talk shop, this issue shows no sign of abating, and the bodies continue to pile up. Leanne Jansen, Cape Town.
They're living in constant fear for their lives and those of their young children. The Westbury community in Johannesburg has seen a spate of gang violence. Now, there have been a number of deaths, including that of Heather Peterson last year, which sparked a series of protests. Our reporter Mashatile visited that area.
My children was my friends. for them just to die like that. My eldest son was shot during the day at about past 3 to 14 December 2016.
A mother still reeling from the murders of her two sons just 6 months apart back in late 2016 and early 2017. She and other parents here are worried about the futures of these little ones who have no choice but to live and go to school here. Some parks have apparently become drug zones. But police claim the violence has decreased since government ordered the tactical response team to be more visible.
Even last week, with an incident that happened at Johannesburg Magistrates Court, one suspect was arrested, and he was then linked to an attempted murder and murder cases of 2017.
After spending most of Monday here, we finally managed to spot the TRT. This is where 45-year-old mother of 5 Heather Peterson took her last breath late last year. It's just a few meters from her home. Peterson's only crime, living in an area where ongoing gang violence is prevalent. A minor was also shot and injured in the crossfire. The members of the Westbury community took to the streets after the incident. Arrests were made, but the case is still pending. Westbury.
Gauteng's Human Settlements MEC has launched a legal battle to clear his name over the controversial Alexandra Renewal Project. The EFF accuses Lebogang Maile and former MEC Paul Mashatile of looting funds meant to provide better services to the township. The Red Berets Gauteng chair also blames Maile for the demolition of houses in Alexandra last week. Samkile Maseko filed this report.
I want to address this thing of this thug, Lebogang Maile. He's a thug and he's a liar. After looting the money of the Alexandra Renewal Project here since 1998 with his thug boss, Paul Mashatile, and his brother, Mike Maile, he's lying. There's no court order here.
It's these words Lebogang Maile is taking exception to. Mashiko's comments are cutting deep.
He's useless, he's corrupt, he's extremely corrupt.
Maile, who hails from Alexandra, is later charged with the police and is suing Mashiko and the EFF.
They even went to an extent of calling me a thug, the Treasurer General of the ANC a thug, my brother a thug. And that's why I'm here in the police station to open a case, a criminal injury. Yes, that's the name of the case. So that's the criminal one. We are going to have another process of a civil lawsuit. Mandisa, the chair of the EFF, in her personal capacity. And because she was speaking on behalf of the EFF, so I'll be suing both the organization and herself in a capacity, a personal capacity. I want them to pay, and that money I'm going to donate it to the people of Alex here.
But there's no case number. Maile says his brother and Paul Mashatile, now the ANC's Treasurer General, will also be seeking legal recourse. Samkele Masego, Alexandra.
Another 2 long-serving MPs have resigned from Parliament. Jeff Radebe threw in the towel today along with Lebogang. No reasons were given for their resignations, but they come on the back of 4 other former ministers who resigned last week. Today, 5 replacements were sworn in. Among 3 first-time MPs is Emily Tlhape. The former Northwest MEC was removed from her job amid a scandal over a cattle scheme meant to help emerging farmers. Figile Masiko from KwaZulu-Natal and Judy Hermans from the Western Cape are also new to Parliament. Also making a return to the House is former Deputy Finance Minister Sfiso Buthelezi. The former PRASA chairperson fingered by the Public Protector over contracts awarded by the rail company. The ANC is yet to announce replacements for the former ministers, Lebogang and Jeff Radebe.
I'm a social activist, so I see myself being part of those committees that deals with social justice.
I'm really humbled to be here, and I look forward to continuing with the project of National Democratic Revolution, the project of trying to improve the lives of our people.
Still to come here on eNews, one of the leading candidates in the race to succeed British Prime Minister Theresa May says he would leave the European Union without a deal.
And in your business news, after an awful week, the rand was firmer against major global currencies this afternoon, and it found some support from eased global tensions.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Rofiwa now has got some business news and trouble for Tongaat on the JSE.
Yeah, so the JSE announcing today, well, Tongaat rather, sending out an announcement today that trading of its shares on the local bourse, the JSE, has been suspended until further notice. And what was interesting here, it was actually the board of Tongaat Hewlett that approached the JSE and requested for the suspension to occur. One of the big reasons for this is that earlier this year, they announced that there were some accounting irregularities that had occurred in the compilation of their 2018 financial results, and that these may have to be restated because, as you would know, it likely means that a lot of the revenue was inflated in those 2018 numbers. So that's to be restated. And another reason is that they've had to delay the publication of their 2019 results. This, they say, will now be done in October 2019, and after those results have been published, then may they resume trading on the JSE. But I must just mention one thing. The company has been facing a lot of headwinds with major debt, and it is cutting about 5,000 jobs at the moment across the SADC region, given that it operates beyond South Africa. All right, so sugarcoating the books, I suppose. So Moody's drops its growth forecast for South Africa. Yeah, so Moody's has been very vocal on South Africa. Last week, Friday, we saw it saying that South Africa is likely to fall into recession given the GDP numbers that we saw. Today, it releases a review saying that the country's growth forecast is going to be revised downwards. So it had said 1.3%, and now it has revised it down to 1% in line with the South African Reserve Bank. And it's really just an indication that Ramaphosa 2.0 was dead before it even was alive, right? Started. So exactly. So the big thing here is that Moody's is going to be watching just how much of that policy and economic reform the president can put through after the State of the Nation address, and then they will rate us. They are the only one of the big 3 ratings agencies that haven't downgraded us to junk. Yep. All right. We'll see how that pans out. How were the markets today? So it was an interesting day on the markets today. The JSE was higher along with global equity markets today, and this is after the US said it will not impose tariffs on Mexico over the lack of security at their mutual border. So we saw banks and retailers benefiting from the rand there with some gains against the US dollar. If we take a look at your commodities, gold is still at high levels but down about 1% today. Meanwhile, oil prices were a little volatile today, and this as Saudi Arabia and Russia are yet to agree on extending an oil output cutting deal. If we take a look at your local unit now, the rand was firmer against major currencies, mainly on the back of improved geopolitics, although this week's traders will be a little cautious ahead of local economic data out this week, retail sales as well as manufacturing data there, Tony. Okay, why doesn't somebody just take Donald Trump's phone away from him? May they just? Please. Rafiwa, thank you so much. All right, that's your business news for now. Some international news now. At least 4 people were killed this weekend as Sudanese security forces moved to quell a civil disobedience campaign. The streets of the capital, Khartoum, have been left largely deserted. The violence followed weeks of sit-in protests by pro-democracy advocates in that capital, following the dramatic fall of Sudan President Omar al-Bashir in April. Jeremy Hunt, one of the leading candidates vying to succeed Prime Minister Theresa May, says he would leave the European Union without a deal. Hunt launched his campaign for the Conservative Party leadership in London today. He warned his supporters that without Brexit, there will be no Conservative government and maybe no Conservative Party. One person was killed and 6 others injured when a construction crane collapsed in high winds in Dallas. The crane sliced through 5 floors of a building, with a parking garage also heavily damaged. Stay with us, because coming up after the break, we'll go to Candace, who's at our weather center. She didn't run because she was in Cape Town. And after that, 17 competitors, 600 kilometers over 4 days. We'll tell you about the Milligan Vintage Rally up next.
Welcome back. Let's go to the weather center now. Candice is standing by. Hello, Candice.
Hi, good evening. Well, we've had a sunny start to the work week for most of South Africa, except in the Western Cape, which started off with quite a wintry day with the arrival of a cold front. Now, overnight, we'll see some fog move in along the western coastline, and we're expecting some fog along that west coast through to Tuesday. Fine and dry weather persists over the rest of the country. We're expecting warmer temperatures for most weather stations, but it'll be windy, especially over the interior parts of the Cape provinces. And then you'll see another cold front on its way, and that brings in rainfall over the southwestern parts on Tuesday night. Here's a detailed weather forecast across South Africa on Tuesday, with another sunny day throughout the northern Cape. Warm for Uppington at 27, Carnarvon and Pietersburg both at 23 degrees, and still quite cool but sunny for Sutherland at 2 and 18. Dry throughout the Western Cape for the majority of the day, but of course with that chance of rain at night. 19 degrees for Cape Town, warm as we head further east, 26 and mostly clear for George. You'll also see a much warmer day throughout the Eastern Cape. Quite a few of those maximum temperatures heading into the upper 20s with sunshine and blue skies overhead. In KwaZulu-Natal, we're expecting a warm afternoon, 26 for Pietermaritzburg, Ulundi even topping 27 degrees, just shy of 30 as we head towards Kokuza, with a fine and dry day throughout Mpumalanga, mild as we head towards the Highveld. In Limpopo, we're expecting sunny conditions on Tuesday, 26 for Zanin, with Lephalale and Bela Bela also expecting highs in the mid-20s, and in Northwest, we're expecting sunny conditions on Tuesday with another mild afternoon, 23 for Mahikeng, Klerksdorp and Potchefstroom. Another icy start to the day is in store for the Free State, 22 for Welkom and Harrismith, and Bloemfontein warming up to 21. We stick with that daytime high as we head towards Gauteng with a sunny and mild day in store, 23 as we head towards Pretoria. Now on Wednesday, we're expecting quite a wintry day over the western and southern parts due to that cold front, with wet weather especially into the Western Cape, and a cold day for Sutherland at only 8 degrees. Rain reaches Port Elizabeth at 17, but we're expecting sunny and warm weather ahead of that cold front. Fine and dry weather continues for Gauteng right the way through to Thursday, and on Thursday we'll see cloudy, wet and cold weather into KwaZulu-Natal, with temperatures also remaining cold over the western, central and southern part of South Africa. That's all from the Weather Centre. Have a good night.
All right, thank you so much, Candice, with the weather details for the next 3 days. It looks like it's going to be pretty warm. Right, we end with this. It's the 50th anniversary of the Milligan Vintage Rally. This is where cars older than 50 show off their prowess on the streets of Port Elizabeth in an attempt to score the best times. Sandy McCowan has this report.
A few last-minute tune-ups before this old lady is put through her paces. Built in 1934 in England, she may be one of the oldest in the rally. But this Rolls-Royce is certainly not a novice, having participated in the very first Milligan trial 50 years ago. But her experience makes up for muscle, having won this race once before. 17 competitors from around the country will travel approximately 600 kilometers across Nelson Mandela Bay over 4 days. The car with the best times will win a holiday away and bragging rights. Sandy McCowan, Port Elizabeth.
Right, and your top stories for this evening. Outrage after a 19-year-old murder suspect is released from prison. The scary reality of South Africa being a gangster's paradise. And
he's a thug and he's a liar.
After this scathing remark by the EFF, the Gauteng Human Settlements MEC is out to clear his name. That's it for myself and the crew. We'll see you again tomorrow evening. Good night.